Hey, Miguel here, Singing Tree Flutes. Oh, let's say that you just received a brand new flute in the mail, or you just purchased one from a store, and you want to get started playing this flute. A couple things to keep in mind. One of the things is fetish placement. In order to get the best sound quality out of this flute here, this sound block or fetish, this is the thing that makes the whole flute make a noise. Without it, it makes no noise. So that has to be in the proper position in order for it to play properly. So let's take a look at that, see if you can see that. It is aligned slightly back from that square hole there, just slightly back, not even a 1/16 of an inch back. That's usually 9 times out of the 10. That's the sweet spot on my flutes. Once in a while you may find that the sweet spot is a little bit forward over that hole, just a hair over that. Sometimes a little bit farther back, like a 1/16. I would say no more than an 1/8 inch ever will be better for you. Depends on your breath pressure a lot of times. But fiddle around with that, give it a blow, see what you think. I know 9 times out of 10, so I'll start just a hair back from that square hole. Give it a blow. Yep. And perhaps you get it and it's not sounding like that. That's not what you're hearing when you blow. Well, we have to do some troubleshooting then. So first thing we can do is, if we're not getting the sound, we can check, double check, make sure that there's nothing underneath this fetish. Maybe pull it right off of there, pull it off of your flute, check underneath here, make sure that there's nothing underneath there. Little piece of lint, the tiniest little piece of dust or lint under there will definitely affect the sound quality of a flute. Give this a blow maybe. Make sure that there's nothing in there, a little bit of leftover wood dust, or a spider didn't crawl up in there when I wasn't looking. Hopefully that's not the case. Anyway, make sure that's all clear and then put it back on there. And when you put it back on there, again, not only make sure it's lined forward and back, make sure it's aligned right to left, because there's an air passage under there, and that wants to be aligned with that cutting edge as well. So make sure you can see your little air passage, take a look, make sure it's aligned right and left, forward and back, slightly back, and then you have your leather tie. I never put a double knot in my leather tie. I just do a half of a square knot, and I take the two strings on each side, give it a pull. I push down on the flute, pull up like that, and then I just cinch it down, and that leather will lock on itself, and that's nice and tight. That's nice and tight. It has a little bit of movement, but that's okay. It's not going to move while playing or anything. That's the way that I do that, and every once in a while I'll check it when I'm ready to play the flute and just make sure it's tight, and if it's a little loose, I just give it another pull, cinch down, and that should work for quite a while that way. Okay, then we try again, make sure we're getting that sweet sound that we're looking for. And if we're not, well, I have another video that says how to play the flute in 3 easy steps. So refer to that for more information on how to get started playing, to make sure, because the flute is probably okay, and maybe it's something that the player is doing that's a problem. So I'll give you a few of those real quick. Is making sure your fingers are all the way covered on the holes, make sure your elbows are to your sides, which brings your hands back underneath the flute, balls of the fingers covering those holes. Because number one problem people have when learning to play the flute, or they get a new flute, maybe they have a key of A and they're doing great with it, and then they buy a key of F or a key of E and they say it sounds horrible, what's happening? Could be that the finger spreads farther, and you don't have the holes sealed properly. So if there's a little squeak, it could be that there's a little leak somewhere with your fingers. So feel that, make sure they're all the way covered. And again, optimum sound quality has to do with proper breath pressure. So too soft, The notes on the top are going to sound a little flat. Blow too hard, you're going to get some notes that pop out of the octave, and you'll get a lot of a hiss and stuff like that. So if you just blow on that flute, so you have to learn some breath control. So blow, I just relax my breath into a flute, just like a gentle breath out. Breathe in and you can practice. Every flute maker has a different preference of where they like their sweet spot to be. Some people like a very, very clear flute that has a very easy overblow. It goes to the high octave very easy, and you have to have real specific breath control when you do that. Some people like to be able to wail on that flute without it blowing over. I'm somewhere in the middle because I enjoy the high octave notes that you can get, and I want to be able to achieve those relatively easy. So medium breath, I would say. You just relax your breath into that. And each flute I can push it a little bit harder or relax a little bit more and find the spot that sounds the sweetest for that particular flute. And also 9 times out of 10, I will play with more energy with all fingers uncovered than with all fingers covered. Meaning, relax my breath into the flute with all fingers covered. And the breath pressure when I get to the top, all fingers open, is significantly harder in breath than with all fingers covered. So I'm playing with more breath or more energy at the top notes, and that helps them sound more in tune and more clear. So try out those techniques and see if that helps you if you were having trouble getting started on your flute, and enjoy. Keep practicing. All right, thanks.